All right, welcome. In this overview, we're going to tackle a really important topic, hardware longevity. Basically, we'll look at how to keep your tech running smoothly for as long as possible and, what to do when it inevitably decides to stop working. This should get you all set for the more detailed reading.
I mean, we've all been there, right? That feeling of total frustration when your computer, which was flying yesterday, is suddenly crawling at a snail's pace. Well, this explainer is going to give you a solid framework for how to protect, diagnose, and maintain your hardware. The goal here is to empower you to solve a lot of these common issues all by yourself. So here's what we've got on deck. We're going to cover 5 main areas, starting with how to protect your hardware, then how to figure out why it's slowing down. We'll also get into solving problems with peripherals, deciding when to reset versus replace something, and finally, a really important one, the ethics of repair. All right, let's jump right in.
Okay, first things first. Let's talk about protecting your hardware. The best way to solve a problem is to stop it from happening in the first place, right? So we're going to look at how to guard your tech against some really common and sometimes totally invisible threats in your environment. So what are these threats? It's usually not some big dramatic moment, like a spark or a loud bang that kills a computer. It's almost always something much quieter, a slow, steady breakdown caused by the world your devices live in every single day.
And according to the reading, there are 3 major culprits to watch out for: heat, moisture, and physical stress. So too much heat, maybe from bad airflow, just slowly wears down all the internal parts. Then there's moisture. Humidity can literally cause rust and corrosion on those tiny, delicate circuits. And of course, the obvious one, physical stress. Dropping your laptop or bumping your desktop, that can definitely damage the sensitive stuff inside.
But you know what the source material calls out as the real silent killer? It's something we probably all ignore: dust. Seriously, dust gets in there, it clogs up the fans and vents, and it basically acts like a thick winter coat on all your components, trapping all that heat inside. And that's really the key takeaway here. A simple can of compressed air can literally save you from a huge repair bill. That heat buildup is one of the top reasons hardware wears out and fails way too early.
Okay, but what if your system is already feeling slow and sluggish? Before you even think about buying a new one, you've got to put on your detective hat. So, next up, we're going to learn how to diagnose the real problem by finding what's called the bottleneck.
So, what's a bottleneck? Well, think of it like a traffic jam on a highway. It's that one point of congestion that's slowing everything else down. And the cool thing is, your computer actually has built-in tools to help you find it. On Windows, it's called Task Manager. On macOS, it's Activity Monitor. These tools give you a live look at exactly what's eating up all your computer's resources, like its processing power or its memory.
And using these tools helps you answer the single most important question in troubleshooting. Is my computer slow because a physical piece of hardware is failing, or is it just one greedy software program hogging all the resources? Because the answer to that question completely changes what you do next.
All right, let's get practical. Let's apply this kind of logical thinking to a super common problem, a peripheral, like your mouse or your printer that just stops working out of the blue. The key to good troubleshooting is not to panic and start clicking everywhere. It's about a methodical process. So, step 1, check the super simple physical stuff. I know it sounds silly, but is it plugged in? Is the cable pushed in all the way? If that's all good, then you move to the software side. Sometimes a simple restart is all it takes. Or maybe you need to update its driver. And a driver, by the way, is just a tiny piece of software that acts like a translator, letting your computer and the device speak the same language.
Okay, so if the basics don't work, the last step is to isolate the problem. Here's how you do it. Take the mouse that isn't working and plug it into another computer. If it still doesn't work, well, you know for sure the mouse is the problem. Or you could do the reverse. Grab a mouse that you know works and plug it into the original computer. If that one works fine, again, you've proved the problem was the old mouse. The absolute key here is to only change and test one thing at a time. That's how you find the real cause.
Now, sometimes the problem is bigger than just a mouse. Your whole system might be acting up, and you're facing a pretty big decision. Do I need to shell out for a new, expensive part, or could a simple software reset fix the whole thing?
And knowing when to do which is absolutely crucial. A factory reset, that's your go-to for software problems. Think viruses, messed up files, or when your system just feels unstable and weird. It basically wipes the slate clean. On the other hand, a hardware replacement is what you do when a physical part is actually broken or it's just too old and slow to keep up.
And the reading gives a perfect example of this.
There was this laptop that was crashing constantly. It looked like it was a goner, totally ready for an expensive hardware repair. But they did a factory reset, a simple software reinstall, and boom, it worked perfectly. It proved the hardware was totally healthy. The real problem was just that the software had gotten all corrupted.
Okay, for our last section, let's shift gears and talk about something that is incredibly important. Whether you're the one fixing a computer for a friend or you're the one getting your computer fixed, there's a huge ethical responsibility that comes with that technical skill. I mean, just think about it for a second. What's on your computer? It's not just a box of electronics, right? It's pretty much your entire digital life. So when you hand that over to a technician, what exactly do they have access to? The short answer is pretty much everything. Your private documents, your family photos, all your emails, your financial records, maybe even saved passwords or super sensitive medical or legal files. The level of access a technician can have is just staggering.
And because of that, repairing a computer is so much more than just a technical job. It's a position of incredible trust. Anyone doing this work has a core ethical duty to treat all of that data as completely private, to only look at what is absolutely necessary to do the repair, and to protect that information from being lost or seen by anyone else.
All right, so let's wrap this up with the key takeaways. Number 1, protect your hardware from things like heat and dust. That's your best first defense. 2, when things go wrong, use a logical, step-by-step workflow to diagnose the real problem. 3, don't forget that a software reset can often fix what looks like a hardware failure. And finally, number 4, repair always involves the ethical responsibility to protect someone's private data.
So hopefully this gives you a new way to think about things. Next time you run into a tech problem, maybe you'll approach it a little differently, knowing that software can often just be pretending to be a hardware failure. This overview should give you a really solid foundation. So now, when you turn to the full reading, you should be totally prepared to dive into all the details with confidence.